Welcome back. Today we have our third booster box opening as we are trying to build a little bit of our collection to eventually build decks from. Um, as I've mentioned before, don't discuss value. This is all about playability of the cards, how fun they can be to build around. And today we have the good fortune of being able to open a Lord of the Rings set booster box. And there should also be a box topper in here. So let's dig in. Lord of the Rings is definitely the Universe Beyond franchise that so far has enticed me the most. Never read the books, but was an avid fan of the films when they came out. I've been looking quite a lot forward to this opening. Here we see the box topper. I think we will save that one for last. So for now, let's dig into the set booster packs. And speaking of set booster packs, I personally started playing during Lost Caverns of Ixalan, and I must say I'm a big fan of the set booster packs and really do miss them. So while we have some, let's enjoy them. Nice art card. Mountain. Second breakfast. Up to 2 target creatures each get +2/+0 until end of turn. Limbras. Okay, nice, beautiful bread. When it enters the battlefield, scry 1, then draw a card. Generous End, 5 and a green. Reach. When Generous End enters the battlefield, create a food token. Yes, I think the initial ones here, as it's typical with commons, are not really suited for Commander. Mushroom Watchdogs, 1 and a green, sacrifice a food, put a +1/+1 counter on Mushroom Watchdogs. It gains vigilance until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. So this one could be interesting if it was whenever you sacrifice the food, but since you can only do it once a turn and it's only when it doesn't really matter. Glorfindel, Dauntless Rescuer, 2 and a green. Whenever you scry, choose 1, and Glorfindel, Dauntless Rescuer gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Glorfindel must be blocked this turn if able. Glorfindel can't be blocked by more than 1 creature each combat this turn. Yeah, could be something, but I don't think that's the most interesting. Arwen of Undumiel. Whenever you scry, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. So now we are beginning to talk, since it's every time we scry. So if we build something scry heavy, but I still probably not good enough to be really interesting. Celeborn the Wise, 3 and a green. Whenever you attack with 1 or more elves, scry 1. Whenever you scry, Celeborn the Wise gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each card looked at while scrying this way. Okay, so actually goes good with the one we had before. Now we are starting. Oh, nice art, even though it's still common. Lash of the Balrog. Sorcery. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature or pay 4. Destroy target creature. So it's cheap, but it does hurt it that it's on sorcery speed, but love the art. So let's keep it down here. Eowyn's Shield Maiden, our first mythic. 2, a blue, a red, and a white for 5/4. First strike at the beginning of combat on your turn. If another human entered the battlefield under your control this turn, create 2/2 red human knight creature tokens with trample and haste. Then if you control 6 or more humans, draw cards. Draw a card. This is actually potentially interesting. Let's create a mythic pile up here. I have been thinking of potentially doing a knight's deck, so could be something. Oh, another mythic, Radagast the Brown, legendary creature, 2 and 2 green. A lot of text on this one. Whenever Radagast the Brown or another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, look at the top X card of your library, where X is that creature's mana value. You may reveal a creature card that doesn't share a creature type with a creature you control from among those cards and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Wow, that was a lot of text for not a lot of effect. So when this goes into play, or if another creature goes into play, you can basically draw a card that doesn't share a creature type with something in play. Could be interesting if you're building something with a lot of different creatures in it. Second Breakfast, already had that one. And a food token. And I think I've said it before, but I do like to play with the actual tokens rather than all of the infinity ones you write on. I think it's visually much easier to keep track of as you play the game. Another nice art card and a full art land, not bad. I think we will begin to skim a little bit faster over the common and uncommons unless there's something that looks really interesting. Sorcery speed, otherwise it could have been. As an additional cost to cast this spell, discard a card, draw 2 cards, and create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. So this is sorcery speed, and you discard the card as part of casting it, not after looking at the additional cards. So not so interesting. Banish from Edoras. The spell costs 2 less to cast if it targets a tapped creature. So you could end up risk paying 5 to exile something. Not very good. And also sorcery. Entish Restoration. Instant. Sacrifice a land. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Put them onto the battlefield tapped. Then shuffle. If you control a creature with power 4 or greater, instead search your library for up to 3 basic land cards. Put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. So this is much more interesting. You search your entire library for 2 basics, and you put them onto the battlefield, both of them, and it can actually be 3 if you control a creature with power 4 or greater. So that would then be 2 additional lands, and you sacrifice 1. I think, especially if you're playing a landfall deck, this is actually quite interesting. Quick Beam, Upstart, End, 4 and 2 green. Whenever it enters, or another treefold enters the battlefield under your control, up to 2 target creatures each get +2/+2 and gain trample until end of turn. Not good enough to play in Commander, I think. Landroll, Horizon Witness, 4 and a white. Whenever 2 or more creatures you control attack a player, target attacking creature without flying gains flying until end of turn. Could have been interesting if it was unblockable. I don't think if it's just gains flying 1 turn that it's interesting. Menel'Dor's Swift Savior, 3 and a blue. For 3/3 with flying. Whenever Menel'Dor's Swift Savior deals combat damage to a player, exile up to 1 target creature you own, then return it to the battlefield under your control. Yeah, could be low-key interesting if you are playing something where you are blinking stuff. Oh, I do like this frame, special frame on them. Elrond, Lord of Rivendell, 2 and a blue. For 3/2, whenever Elrond, Lord of Rivendell, or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, scry 1. If this is the second time this ability has resolved this turn, the rings tempt you. Probably not good enough in most decks. Then we have the first rare of the pack. Isildur, Fateful Strike, 2 and 2 black. Legendary Instant. Oh, a Legendary Instant. I'm not sure that I've seen this one or one like that before. Destroy target creature. If its controller has more than 4 cards in hand, they exile cards from their hand equal to the difference. Okay, so you get to kill something and to make them discard cards, but it's also 4. Yeah, it's certainly interesting text. We'll have to really plan around it. Oh, a nice elephant in a different frame. Quite interesting art. 5 and a red. Trample. Whenever elephant attacks another target creature you control, gets +2/+0 and gains trample until end of turn. Mountain cycling. So the mountain cycling could make it interesting if you have a discard deck, or if not, probably not strong enough. Oh, and then we have a special guest type, a mythic from Kamigawa, Nashi Moon Sage Scion. Legendary creature, rat ninja, ninjutsu, 3 and a black. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of each player's library. Until end of turn, you may play one of those cards. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to its mana value rather than paying its mana cost. Okay, and of course, so with the ninjutsu, meaning you can basically cheat this in if something is unblocked, and you will then be kind of guaranteed that you'll see 4 cards, because you'll see one from each player in Commander, and then you can pay for one of them with life instead of mana. So this is actually potentially quite powerful in the right deck. Okay, that was an interesting card to end this pack on. Let's see what we have in store in the next one. But yeah, I've always liked the set boosters because you can actually get a lot of Commander cards in them, where at least if it's draft boosters, you typically don't get that many. Back in Porter, 3 and green. Whenever it attacks, it gets. If you're playing a heavy legendaries deck, maybe, but probably not. Mirror of Guardian. When it dies, the ring tempts you. No. When rage. Okay, a lot of ring tempt you, but I guess that's very fitting for a lot of the rings. So 1 black. Sam's Desperate Rescue, like the title. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. The ring tempts you. So getting 1 card back in hand for only a black, that's actually fairly cheap. It is sorcery, but still, it's very, very cheap. Okay, nice flavor text on this one. By all the signs, there's a large warrior loose with an elf sword and an axe as well, maybe. Gorbak spat. Sam smiled grimly at this description of himself. Nice. This could potentially be interesting in Commander in the right deck. Arven of Undumel, had that one already. Celeborn the Wise. Also, did we actually have those in the same pack previously, maybe? Mirror of Galadriel. Legendary artifacts. 5 and a tap to scry 1, then draw a card. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each legendary creature you control. So if you have 5 legendary creatures in play, you can draw a card for free, and it only costs 2. This is actually very interesting in Commander, as if you're playing a legendary Matters deck. Gimli, counter of kills. Again, this nice frame, nice art. Trample. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, Gimli, counter of kills, deals 1 damage to that creature's controller. If it had said each, then it would have been maybe a tad expensive, but playable in Commander. I think this one is too expensive overall. Oh, and then we get the first rare of this pack, the Shire. Very nice art. Legendary land. The Shire enters the battlefield tapped, unless you control a legendary creature. Tap to add green. 1 and a green on a tap. Tap an untapped creature you control. Create a food token. So doesn't maybe sound super powerful, and you are actually paying 3 mana, but if you have some mana left over at a turn, at the end of the turn, it's a nice way to use it and potentially get an extra artifact, which can also really matter. War of the Last Alliance. Search your library for a legendary creature card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Okay, creatures you control gain double strike until end of turn. The ring tempts you. Okay, so you get to double tutor. So it's a tad slow, but again, if you're playing some legendary, this is potentially interesting. Then we have claim the precious, destroy target creature, the ring tempts you. So it's a sorcery, and because of that, probably not good enough. Then we get a nice orc army token. Okay, so a couple of really interesting cards, and I'm seeing a trend of a lot of legendary metas cards, which is actually quite interesting. Oh, maybe there's art cards in all of these. Very nice golem right there. Great Hall of the Citadel. So it doesn't come in tapped. That's nice. And then you can mana fix and get an extra mana, but again, only if it's legendary. I mean, just imagine this. If let's say you were only ever using this to cast your commander, actually, this would still be good. Yeah, quite like that. Definitely goes in the playable pile. Gimli's Axe. Artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +3/+0 as long as the creature is legendary. It has menace. So it's 2 and a red, and then an equipped. So 5, probably too expensive, but nice effect. Gimli's Furry. Okay. Wonder if this is going to be an entire pack of Gimli cards. Could be nice. So this is at least an instant. 1 and a red. Target creature gets 3/2 until end of turn. If it's legendary, it also gains trample until end of turn. Borderline playable. At least interesting. Erebor Flamesmith, 1 and a red, Dwarf Artificer. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Erebor Flamesmith deals 1 damage to each opponent. So this is definitely playable in Commander, very cheap. If you have like a spell slinger deck, this will hurt them a bit over time. And 1 more Mirror of Galadriel. Legolas Count of Kills, 2, a green and a white, Elf Archer. Reach, whenever you scry, if this is tapped, you may untap it. Do this only once each turn. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Legolas. Okay, so it can quickly become bigger if your opponent's things are dying, and then it can actually be untapped if you scry. But I think the bottom line is the interesting part. This is definitely in the playable pile. Friendly Rivalry, a red and a green. Instant target creature you control and up to 1 other target legendary creature you control. Each deal damage equal to the power to target creature you don't control. So this is like a classic green removal spell, but then it's actually 2 creatures if one of them is legendary. Could be interesting and not super powerful, but interesting. Gimli Count of Kills in the regular art. Oh, I do love these full arts, even though it's just commons. It's very beautiful. Dunland Crebain, 2 and a black. Creature Bird Horror. Flying, when Dunland Crebain enters the battlefield, amass orcs 2. So, not the best, but if you have something with a lot where creature tokens matter, it could still be something. Let's put it down here to the beautiful art cards. Born Upon a Wind, our first rare in this pack. 1 and a blue for an instant. You may cast this spell. You may cast spells this turn as though they have flash. Draw a card. Okay, so even if you had a sorcery, if you on your opponent's turn, if you then cast this, then you could also cast a sorcery or a creature. So definitely also a playable card for a little bit of a surprise swing potentially. Shire Scarecrow, classic mana fixing. Don't think it's interesting for Commander. Maybe if you have something where you're playing a bunch of artifacts. It's also beautiful packs, by the way. Gandalf there on the front. Oh, still a lot of packs to go, and it does seem like we are getting one of these quite beautiful art cards in every pack. This looks like Smaug. So even though I don't believe he is in the actual Lord of the Rings, it's the entire universe. So Snarling Varg, 3 and a black creature wolf menace. As long as you control a goblin or orc, Snarling Varg gets +1/+0. Definitely not for commander. The Oliphant that we had in the nice art version. Mirkwood Spider, 1 death touch. Whenever it attacks target legendary creature you control, gains death touch until end of turn. So even though this looks small death touch in commander because you really want to save your important creatures, can be super powerful, and this can actually give it to something else. So I would actually call this playable. Mirkwood Bats, 3 and a black, flying. Whenever you create or sacrifice a token, each opponent loses 1 life. A tad expensive, but in a token deck, especially since it's both when you actually create it as well as sacrifice it. So this is almost like a double ping. This could certainly be interesting. Krishnak, Brash Instigator, 2 and a red. When it enters the battlefield, amass Orcs 2. When you do, until end of turn, gain control of target non-legendary creature an opponent controls with power less than or equal to the amassed army's power. Untap that creature, it gains haste until end of turn. Okay, so you get to create your army if you don't have it. So as a minimum, you can grab a creature with power 2 or less for 1 turn and swing with it. Could be interesting in the right deck. Maybe not super powerful, but at least fun, which is also a thing. Grant the Gatebreaker, 3 and a black legendary artifact vehicle. Trample, as long as it's your turn and you control an army. Grant the Gatebreaker is an artifact creature, so it accrues for free if you have an army. Probably not, but I'm going to put it in the playables in case you do something with the armies. It could still. Oh, it's still too expensive because then you're paying 4 for 5/5 with almost no abilities. Goblin Fire Leaper, or 1 and a red. And you can pay 1 and a red, and it gets +1/+0 until end of turn. And when it dies, it deals damage equal to its power to target creature and opponent controls. Of course, you can do some tricks with this in Commander, but I don't actually think that it's playable. Fear Fire Foes, X and reds. Damage can't be prevented this turn. Fear Fire Foes deals X damage to target creature and 1 damage to each other creature with the same controller. Is this strong enough? So you can hit something if you pay 6 mana, you can hit something with 5 and then ping all the other creatures. I don't think that's super useful. Oh, another one of these art cards, Rosy Cotton of Southlane, 2 and a white. Legendary creature, Halfling Peasant. When Rosy Cotton of Southlane enters the battlefield, create a food token. Whenever you create a token, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control, other than Rosy. This is just playable, I think. Not super powerful, but fun. Then we have a Display of Power, 1 and 2 red for an instant, and it can't be copied. Copy any number of target instant and or sorcery spells. You may choose new targets for the copies. So basically, you may are probably playing 1 or 2. Maybe you're playing a creature. No, this is only instant and sorcery. So you're playing 1 or 2 instants or sorceries, and then you play this, and then they double. So this could also provide a big swing if you time it just right. Mirkwood Spider, there we have it again. Quite nice little small cheap creature, and then a ring token. Yeah, I do think it's some interesting cards we are pulling. I'm not super much a fan of the Ring Tempt You. Can be a little bit annoying, but I don't know, with all of these nice cards, we may have to build around it anyway. Also, so I wonder who this is. This is the Steward of Gondor, maybe. Can we see on the back? Yes, it was the Steward of Gondor. Very nice. And we have a Plains Bewitching Leechcraft, 1 and a blue for an aura. Enchant creature. When it enters the battlefield, tap enchanted creature. Enchanted creature has this creature would untap during your untap step. Remove a +1 counter from it instead. If you do untap it, not playable. Morgul Knife Wound, 1 and a black enchantment aura. So, okay, theme pack suddenly. Enchanted creature gets -3, -0, and has at the beginning of your upkeep exile this creature unless you pay 2 life. So if you put this on one of your opponents, they will lose it if they don't pay 2 life. So a little bit of a drain effect. If you have something where enchantments really matter, could be barely playable. Fog on the Barrow Downs, 2 and a white enchantment aura. So 3 enchantment auras after. Don't think we got any in the previous packs. Interesting. Enchanted creature is a spirit and can't attack or block. If you're really playing something with enchantments, it may just be good enough. I'm not sure. Here the Windlord, 4 white and a blue, so fairly expensive for 4/4. But it costs 2 less to cast as long as you've drawn 2 or more cards this turn. It has flying and vigilance, and other birds you control have vigilance. Could it be good enough in a bird tribal deck? Maybe just barely. Goes in the playable pile. Blue for an instant, Stern Scolding, counter target creature spell with power or toughness 2 or less. So it's playable. You can risk ending up not being able to play it, but very interesting. You cannot pass. Oh, of course, you have to have a card that says that. 1 white for an instant, destroy target creature that blocked or was blocked by a legendary creature this turn. Since it requires a little bit of luck to be able to use, it's probably barely playable. But if you have a spell slinger deck of some type and you really need some small spells, could barely work. Lost to Legend, 2 for an instant, put target non-land historic permanent into its owner's library 4th from the top. So if you have something with an ETB that you want to play again, or if you have something that you kind of want to remove from your opponent but don't want to go into the graveyard, going to put it in the barely playable to see if we can do something fun with it. Grima Wormtongue, oh, hate that guy. 2 and a black for human advisor. Your opponents can't gain life. Sacrifice another creature. Target player loses 1 life if the sacrificed creature was a legendary. Amass Orcs 2. So your opponents not being able to gain life could be a thing. Oh, many partings. Yeah, very beautiful card. I've seen this one before. A green to search your library for a basic land card that you then get to put in your hand, and you create a food token. So playable in the right deck. Press the enemy 2 and 2 blue. Instant return target spell or non-land permanent an opponent controls to its owner's hand. You may cast an instant or sorcery spell equal or lesser mana value from your hand without paying its mana cost. So let's say you're returning something that has a mana value of 7, then you get to play something for 7 and they returned it. Again, this could actually be a big swing at the right moment. Let's just move all of the rares into a pile here. So we had these first couple of ones with a lot of mythics and nonsense. Haunt of the Dead Marshes, 1 black. Nightmare Elf. When Haunt of the Dead Marshes enters the battlefield, scry 1, and then you can return it to the battlefield tapped if you control a legendary creature for 2 and a black. probably too expensive to be playable. And then just a random card here at the end. Still a lot of packs left to go, and a lot of very interesting cards to build around so far. Oh, and I do love all of these art cards. I'm putting all of them into a box of the art cards. I don't know what to do with them, but they're too good looking if you ask me to just throw away. Galadrim Guide, 3 and a green. Elf Scout, when it enters the battlefield, scry 2. So we had that scry theme, but you probably don't want to spend 4 mana to scry something. Galadrim Bow, it feels like there are a lot of themes in these packs somehow. Artifact Equipment Flash, when it enters the battlefield, attach it to target creature you control, that then untaps. Creature gets +1/+2 and has reach. So a little bit of a combat trick if somebody tries to come at you with, especially with a flyer, you can get bigger, and it untaps and it gets reach. Probably too expensive, but it does attach for the initial cost, so fun enough to put in the playable pile. Shower of Arrows, 2 and a green, instant destroy target artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying. Scry 1, a lot of standard green removal, not playable in Commander. Scarecrow we had. Shadow Summoning, a white and a black, sorcery, create 2 taps, 1/1 white spirit creature tokens with flying. So it is sorcery speed, but it is 2 tokens, and sometimes that's matter. Buried playable pile. Theoden, King of Rohan, 1 red and a white. Whenever Theoden, King of Rohan, or another human enters the battlefield under your control, target creature gains double strike until end of turn. Not good enough for Commander, but nice card. The Mouth of Sauron. 3, a blue and a black, legendary creature. When the Mouth of Sauron enters the battlefield, target player mills 3 cards. Then amass Orcs X, where X is the number of instant and sorcery cards in that player's graveyard. So you don't have to target yourself. Whoever gets target mills 3 cards, and then you can kind of, okay, if they have like a lot, then you can potentially get like a single 10/10, but it's also 5 mana. It's fun enough to go into the playable pile, but I don't think it's actually powerful. Ugluk of the White Hand, 2, a black and a red. Legendary creature, Orc Soldier. Whenever another creature you control dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Ugluk. That creature was a goblin or orc, put 2 +1/+1 counters on Ugluk instead. Yeah, definitely playable in right deck. This one can go quickly. And then we have Quick Beam, Upstart, End, 4 and 2 greens, so very expensive tree folk. Yeah, we had that previously. I think it's too expensive, but I do love the art, so it goes in the art pile down here. Then we have Boromir, Warden of the Tower. 2 and a white. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast it, counter it. Sacrifice Boromir, Warden of the Tower. Creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. The ring tempts you. Definitely playable in the right deck, and you can really mess with your opponent if they have like a lot of trickery of casting spells without paying for them. Rare pile. Be nice to get another mythic. Has been a while. Endrod Basin. 2 artifact X and tap. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature with power X. Activate only as sorcery. Okay, that's unplayable. You would have to maybe on some very small. Maybe on some if you have a lot of very small dudes, so you actually only pay 1 to put 1/+1 on it, and then you have some doubler. Could be barely playable, but probably way too expensive. Okay, what are we? A third into the box, and we also still have the box cover. I like this opening so far. A nice autographed art card. I think it's quite interesting with Lord of the Rings that they got access to the IP, but not the movies, like they did with the cards from Jurassic Park. So we're getting to see new art versions of a universe we know. On our planes, let's see. Now for Wrath, now for Ruin. 3 and a white sorcery. Put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. They gain vigilance until end of turn. The ring tempts you. So 3 and a white. That's very expensive. I guess if you really have a bunch of dudes out, then you can maybe get 8 +1/+1 counters, but it's a single effect. I'm going to call this non-playable in Commander, but fun. Breaking of the Fellowship, 1 and red, sorcery, target creature an opponent controls deals damage equal to its power to another target creature that player controls. Okay, so you need to have an opponent out with 2 creatures. One of them needs to be big enough to kill the other one, and it's a sorcery. I don't think that will work. Glorious Gale, 1 and a blue, instant counter target creature spell. If it was a legendary spell, the ring tempts you. Fairly cheap counter, so not special, but always good to have around. Dreadful as the Storm, 2 and a blue, instant target creature has base power and toughness 5/5 until end of turn. The ring tempts you. Not good enough for Commander. Legolas, count of kills. We had that one, which was in the playable pile. Friendly Rivalry. Also seen that. Gimli, Rising of the Day, 2 and a red. Enchantment creatures you control have haste. Legendary creatures you control get +1/+0. So for 2 and a red, for a haste effect, a permanent, might be barely playable in the right deck. Haha, then we get Gimli again. We've actually only gotten 3 of those beautiful frames so far, and 2 of them were the same. Forge anew. 2 and a white for an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, you get to return an equipment card from your graveyard to the battlefield, actually. And on your own turn, you may activate equip abilities anytime you could cast an instant, so you get to trick them. And you can equip the first thing on each of your turns for 0. Okay, so this is actually super interesting in an equipment deck. Can really cause a lot of havoc because opponents will be afraid to block because of what it does. Oh, we actually got this art already, this time actually in foil, I think. Still looks good. Okay, so the Forge anew, that's actually I do have an equipment deck where that could be fun. You need to be heavy on equipment, but if you are, it's real, almost a game changer card. Oh, is this Legolas with the arrows somehow? Faramir Field Commander. Yeah, okay. And a full art land and actually in foil. Nice. Orcish Medicine. Target creature gains your choice of lifelink or indestructible until end of turn. Amass Orcs 1. So a little bit of a combat trick to keep something alive or to gain some life. Barely playable in Commander, I would say. Mortar Muster. 1 and a black sorcery, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Amass Orcs 1. If it had been instant, maybe the sorcery. I don't think so. Torment of Golem, 3 and a black sorcery. Target opponent reveals the hand. You choose a non-land card from it. That player discards that card. Not too expensive. Soothing of Smeagol, 1 and a blue. Instant, return target non-token creature to its owner's hand. The ring tempts you. If you actually need the ring tempts you mechanic, it could be barely playable. Shadowfax, Lord of Horses. I've always been a big fan of the name Shadowfax. It's like very mythical in nature, even though this is only an uncommon. 3 and a red and a white. Horses you control have haste. Whenever it attacks, you may put a creature card with lesser power from your hand onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking. and this is all horses, so it itself has haste, so you can play it. If it swings in and attacks, you can put something with power 3 straight onto the battlefield and attacking at the same. Definitely playable in the right deck. I don't know if you actually need a horse-themed deck, but fun. Oath of the Grey Host, Enchantment Saga. You and target opponent each create a food token. Each opponent loses 3 life. Create a treasure token. Create 3 tapped 1/1 white spirit creature tokens with flying. Is this good enough? It's fairly slow for what it does. I mean, if you get to the stage 3, you do get some nice tokens, but also you need 4 mana to play, so you're playing it on turn 4, and then on turn 7 you may get these tokens. I'm going to say that's not good enough. Bill Fernie, Breeze Swindler, 1 and a blue for human rogue. Whenever it becomes blocked, choose 1 and create a treasure token. Target opponent gains control of target horse you control. If they do, remove Bill Fernie from combat and create 3 treasure tokens. So basically you are enticing your opponents to not block it, because you'll get something if they do, but then it's just a 2/1, and they can block it with the smallest thing, and all you get is a treasure token. I'm going to say that it's not good enough. Bill the Pony, sweet dude. 3 and a white, again for a horse. When it enters the battlefield, you get 2 food tokens. Sacrifice a food until end of turn. Target creature you control assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. Probably not playable, but I'm putting it in that pile just because it's could be fun in the right situation. Many partings in this exact art we already had. Minas Tirith, Legendary Land. Nice. Beautiful. When it enters the battlefield tapped, unless you control a legendary creature, you get 1 white, and you can pay it's basically a 1 and a white, and you tap this, basically 3 mana to draw a card. And you can only activate it if you attack with 2 or more creatures this turn. So it's something, will you use it all of the time? No, you won't. But then once in a while it will come in super handy, so definitely playable. Then we got Bombadil's Song. Target creature you control gets +1/+1 and gains hexproof until end of turn. So a little bit of trickery, but for only hexproof and only 1 creature, probably not playable. Okay, nice land we got there. Let's see what this pack holds. So we haven't gotten any of the biggest hits. Oh, Lighting of the Torches. That's maybe my favorite scene from all of the Rings movies, seeing them light up across the mountains. So good. Oh, and another foil full art land. Ichilin Kingfisher, 2 and a white for bird, flying. When it dies, draw a card. Too expensive. Dunland Crebain, we had that one. Also too expensive. Deceive the Messenger, 1 for an instant, -3, -0 until end of turn. Yeah, too expensive. Trees of Isengard, 2 and a blue. Sorcery, put up to 1 target instant a sorcery card from your graveyard on top of your library. Too expensive and sorcery speed. Swarming of Moria, 2 and a red. Create a treasure token. Amass Orcs 2. Yeah. No, sorcery not good enough. Foray of Orcs. Yeah, we had that one before, but it's. I do think it's too expensive still. March from the Black Gate. Oh wow. It's very subtle, but super nice, that art. 1 and a black for an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, and whenever an army you control attacks, amass Orcs 1. So it's only when an army attacks. Could be playable if you actually have something around the army specifically, but I think you need that. Gothmog, Morgul, Lieutenant, 3 and a black, legendary creature. When it enters, amass orcs 1. Creature tokens you control have Death Touch. In the right deck, that can always be good. And we get the Grey Havens, beautiful legendary land. When it enters, so you get a free scry and it's colorless. And 1 mana of any color among legendary creature cards in your graveyard. I think that is very playable in most decks. Scroll of Isildur, 2 and a white, gain control of up to 1 target artifact for as long as you control Scroll of Isildur. The ring tempts you, and you can tap up to 2 target creatures, and you get to put a counter on them. And then the final step, draw a card for each tapped creature target opponent controls. So most likely you will grab 2 cards, probably too expensive. It's a rare, so it does go in that pile. We had the Gatebreaker earlier, and then a minigame card at the end. I wonder if anybody has ever used them for anything. Alright, do we have here for the art? So some horses fighting, probably Riders of Rohan attacking, I would guess. A foil swamp. I think we had that one, too expensive. Brandywine Farmer, 200 green. When it enters or leaves the battlefield, create a food token. So you get 2 food tokens. Isn't that enough? I'm going to venture that it isn't. Took Reaper, 1 and a white. When it dies, the ring tempts you. Not good enough. Nimble Hobbit, 1 and a white. Whenever Nimble Hobbit attacks, you may sacrifice a food or pay 2 and a white. When you do, tap target creature and opponent controls. So you can remove a blocker if you have a food available. I'm going to say that's not good enough. Lorith of Healing House, 2 and a blue. You can tap it to untap another target permanent, or you can tap it to untap 2 other target legendary creatures. So if you have something that you need to tap it to activate an ability, or basically to make 2 things available as blockers, I think playable in the right deck for sure. Eomir of the Riddermark, 4 and a red. Legendary creature, Human Knight, has haste. When it attacks, if you control a creature with the greatest power among creatures on the battlefield, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. Okay, so if you are lucky enough that you have the greatest power, you get 1 token. I'm not a fan of you, Elmer. Sorry. Erkenbrand, Lord of Westfold, 3 and a red. And when it or another human enters the battlefield under control, creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. So I guess if you have a token deck and you create 8 humans in a turn, this could swing it. So barely playable pile, I think it is, for Erkenbrand. Then we have Prince Imrahil the Fair, legendary creature for a white and a blue. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. It is cheap, not the best effect, but it is cheap, so it goes in the playable pile. Samwise the Stout-Hearted, so only our 4th of these special art frames, 1 and a white. Legendary creature with flash. When he enters the battlefield, choose up to 1 target permanent card in your graveyard that was put there from the battlefield this turn. Return it to your hand, then the ring tempts you. So basically, if you have this in hand, you can attack with something knowing that it's likely to get killed, but then you can immediately put it back into your hand. This is fun, definitely. Okay. Oh, another legendary land. We're getting a lot of these. I have a feeling. Barad-dûr. When it enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a legendary creature. Tap to add a black, and you can pay X. A black and tap it. So a minimum of 4 mana to amass orcs X. So for 4 mana, you get 1 army. It's probably not good enough. I'm unsure if the fact that it's legendary could be important to some deck, but probably not good enough unless you're playing that specific army deck. Swarming of Moria we already had. And then a human soldier token. Some of these lands where it can be hard to evaluate how important they might be, but I generally say if they don't have a lot of downside but a small upside, then I'll add it because at some point it might come in handy. Is this Tom Bombadil? No? Asceticism. Okay. I fail the reference on that completely, but that's okay. Captain of Umbar. Creature, human pirate, 2 and a blue, 1 and tap it to draw a card and discard a card. There are decks where that matters specifically. Pelagia Survivor, 1 and a blue for human peasant, add 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana only to cast an instant or sorcery spell. So mana fixing in blue is not a frequent thing, and if you have something where you want to cast a lot of instant and sorceries, 1 extra could matter. Barely playable, I would say. Woe's Pathfinder, 1 and a green. Creature, human shaman. Tap it to add 1 mana of any color. 6 and a green. Another target creature gets +3 and gains trample until the end of the turn. So a little bit of ramp. Not super cheap, but ramp you always need in some decks. Protector of Gondor, 3 and a white. And when it enters, you create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. So you get this one and 1 token for 4 mana. Not good enough. Gothmog Morgul Lieutenant. When it enters the battlefield, amass orcs 1. Okay, that's a Death Touch one. It goes in the playable pile. Mauhyr Urukai Captain. Seems like a fairly evil dude. 1 and a red menace. If 1 or more +1/+1 counters would be put on an army, goblin, or orc control, that many +1/+1/+1 counters are put on it instead. Yeah, if you really build around it, it's certainly playable. Book of Mazabul. Amass orcs 1. Amass orcs 2. Creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain menace until end of turn. Not good enough. Denethor, Ruling Steward, 1, a white and a black. Aristocrats colors. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died under your control this turn, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. And you can sacrifice another creature. Each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. The sacrifice is a bit expensive, but if you're able to trigger other things, plus something died and you actually get it back again, so fairly interesting. Shire Sheriff. I wonder if these art cards are only all uncommon and common, and these, I think that's what we've seen so far. Shire Sheriff, creature, halfling soldier, 1 and a white. It has vigilance. When it enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a token. When you do, exile target creature an opponent controls until Shire Sheriff leaves the battlefield. So temporary removal on a creature, probably not good enough for a commander. Ooh, Horn of Gondor. That's nice. 3 for legendary artifacts, and when it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. And then you can pay 3 and tap it to create X 1/1 white human soldier creature tokens, where X is the number of humans you control. So if you're already doing something with human tokens, this can make it go out of hand really fast. Definitely playable. Then we have Tale of Tinuviel, 3 and 2 white. Target creature you control gains indestructible for as long as this is in play. Then you can return a card from a graveyard to the battlefield. Then up to 2 target creatures each gain lifelink. At just the right moment. Could be fun, but I don't think it's playable. And then a Smaug token. Nice. So there must be something that actually creates mouth tokens, which we haven't gotten. Yeah. Are we approaching halfway? Maybe a little bit less than halfway. I hope you're not all falling asleep, or if you do, I hope that you will sleep nicely. I am doing this purposely a little bit slowly, just to dwell on everything. Was this then Tom Bombadil? Yes. Okay. Okay. I'm not sad about thinking that the other one was a Tom Bombadil then. Shire Terrace can tap for a colorless, and you can sacrifice it to search for a basic land card that enters tapped. Potential mana fixing, probably not good enough. We'll still put it in the playable pile. Back in Porter, 3 and a green. When it attacks, it gets +X until end of turn, where X is the number of legendary creatures you control. Not good enough. Mirror Guardian, 2 and a green. And when it dies, the ring tempts you. I'll also say that's not strong enough. Enraged Shuon, don't know what that is. Is that the tree? 4 and a green, trample, and when it enters, the ring tempts you. Yeah. Oh, we had that dude. Definitely still playable pile. Book of Muzzable. Not playable. Oh, we also had Denethor. Goes into playable pile. Frodo Baggins. A green and a white uncommon in this nice frame. So that's like 4th in that frame. I like the art. Whenever he or another legendary creature enters the battlefield under control, the ring tempts you. As long as Frodo is your ring bearer, it must be blocked if able. So if you're playing something where you need those ring temps, this will trigger. Oh, and we are getting a Nazgul. I guess this is the best uncommon we can hope for. 2 and a black. Wraith Knight, Death Touch, and when it enters the battlefield, the ring tempts you. And then whenever it tempts you, put a +1/+1 count on each Wraith you control. And a deck can have up to 9 cards named Nazgul. So this is probably the best uncommon we can get. And for the rare, we have Shelob, Child of Ungoliath, 4, a black and a green. Death Touch, Ward 2, so hard to get rid of. All the spiders you control have Death Touch and Ward 2. And whenever another creature dealt damage this turn by a spider you control dies, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's a food artifact with 2 and tap. Sacrifice this artifact, you gain 3 life. Okay, that's actually quite fitting for the spider thing, that it tucks them away and can use them as food this turn, or at any later turn. Yeah, quite a fun mechanic, and an 8/8 with Death Touch and Ward 2. I would say definitely playable. Very interesting. Then we get Gandalf, Friend of the Shire, in this nice frame. So that's the first pack with 2 of those frames, I think. This is also the foil slot. Legendary creature, Avatar Wizard, 3 and a blue, flash. You may cast sorcery spells as though they had flash. Whenever the ring tempts you, if you chose a creature other than Gandalf, Friend of the Shire, as your ring bearer, draw a card. Yeah, playable in the right deck, and a nice art. And a spirit token. I think this is the halfway mark. I haven't been keeping count. How many art cards do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Only 11 art cards. So maybe not even halfway. Unless I have missed something. Oh, nice out there. Land. War Beast of Gorgoroth. 4 and a red for 5/4. And when it or another creature you control with power 4 greater dies, amass Orcs 2. So in case of a board wipe, maybe you would get an 8/8 that you could swing with. Barely playable, I think, if you're playing something with Beast and wants a bit of board wipe. protection maybe. Surrounded by orcs. They're really in danger there, those two halflings. 3 and a blue, sorcery, amass orcs 3. Then target player mills X cards, where X is the amassed army's power. Boom, 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 boom. It would have to be self-milling to be worth it, but yeah, I don't think this one is playable. Orcish medicine we had. A little bit of combat trick, sometimes playable. Mortar muster, 1 and a black. You draw a card and you lose 1 life. Yeah, sorcery. No good. Old Man Willow 2, black and a green. For legendary creature Treefolk, Old Man Willow's power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control. Whenever it attacks, you may sacrifice another creature or a token. When you do, target creature and opponent control gets -2/-2 until end of turn. So if you have a lot of lands out at the end, it could be somewhat big, but no other abilities. And then you can't sacrifice as many things as you want. You can sacrifice 1 to give something -2/-2 when you attack. Oh, maybe if you just need a final card for a Treefolk deck, it's good enough. Rise of the Witch King, 2, a black and a green. Each player sacrifices a creature. If you sacrifice a creature this way, you may return another target card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So yeah, it would have been nice with instant, but I do think it's playable at sorcery speed. Get your remote. If you're playing something with tokens, your opponents are not, it can be a big swing. Voracious Fell Beast, 4 and 2 black, very expensive for Drake Beast, so not a dragon but a drake. Flying, and when it enters, each opponent sacrifices a creature, and you create a food token for each creature sacrificed this way. I wonder if you could potentially blink this in the right deck, so get them to sacrifice multiple. Again, maybe barely playable in a beast deck. Shadow Summoning, had that one. Oh, and then we have a nasty end. Oh wow, nice art. 1 and a green. Instant as an additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice a creature. Draw 2 cards. If the sacrificed creature was legendary, draw 3 cards. So this is actually quite good. There are a lot of draw spells where you need to sacrifice a creature and will only ever draw the 2. But in this, if you have a legendary that you don't need, you can actually draw the 3. Very playable and very nice art as well. Goldberry River Daughter, 1 and a blue. You get to move counters around, and you can, if you move them and you pay, you can draw a card. Could be playable. Goes in the rare pile. Have we had any mythics or rares in the fall slot? Yeah, maybe 1. Stew the Conies, 2 and a green. Instant, target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. Create a food token. Too expensive for that. Survival Cache. So a common list card at the end. Okay, interesting. 2 and a white. Sorcery, you gain 2 life. Then if you have more life than an opponent, draw a card. Then it has Rebound. If you cast a spell from your hand, exile it, and then at the beginning of your next upkeep, you may cast this card from exile without paying its mana cost. So you gain 2 life, and then you may draw a card, and then for free the next turn you gain 2 life again, and then you may draw a card again. Yeah, I'll put it over here simply because it's a list card, so I'll need to evaluate it further. Could be fun. Not sure if it's actually powerful. Let's keep on going. Oh. So who's this? Boromir, Faramir. I can never. Yeah, this was Boromir. Nice, another full art land. Soldier of the Grey Host, 3 and a white. Flash flying. When it enters the battlefield, target feature. Yeah, not good enough. Eagles of the North, 5 and a white. Bird soldier. I do love the Eagles when they come and pick up Gandalf, which I guess is what we are seeing here. When they enter, creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain first strike until end of turn. And it does cycle, but it's also 6 for a 3/3 to give everything first strike, but it's not flash. I'm going to say it's not playable, just too expensive, but nice card. Then we had this one. It's an end of turn effect, not good enough. Isolation at Orthang, 3 and a black. Too expensive. Strider, Ranger of the North. So I guess it's before we get to know his real name. 2 a red and a green for a human ranger. Whenever land enters the battlefield under control, target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Then if that creature has power 4 or greater, it gains first strike until end of turn. It is fairly, it's a bit expensive. I don't know, might be barely playable in exactly the right deck. Let's put it in that pile. Eowyn, Lady of Rohan, 2 and a white. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature gains your choice of first strike or vigilance until end of turn. If that creature is equipped, it gains first strike and vigilance until end of turn instead. Equip abilities you activate cost 1 less to activate. Then equipment matter stick, maybe. Reprieve, 1 and a white, return target spell to its owner's hand, draw a card. So almost a white counter, and you get to draw a card. If let's say you're playing mono white, I think this is good enough to potentially include. Oh, our third Lash of the Balrog in that art. That's strange. Ring Wraith, 4 and 2 black, and it enters target creature and opponent control gets -3 until end of turn. And then if it's legendary, its controller loses 3 life. And when the ring tempts you, return Ring Wraith from your graveyard to your hand. It's not the best looking rare I've ever seen, but maybe. Oh, and we actually get a mythic behind it. Is it foil? No. Glamdring, 2 legendary artifact equipment. The equipped creature has first strike and gets +1/+0 for each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard. So let's say it may get, let's say, +5/+0, and then whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may cast an instant or sorcery spell from your hand with mana value less than or equal to that damage without paying its mana cost. So cost 2 to play, 3 to equip, so that's 5. And then your creature gets first strike, it gets big, it might, but it doesn't have trample. And you need to deal combat damage to a player. I'm going to say it's not as good as I would have hoped, but could be interesting. Morgul Knife Wound, we had that one. And a food. Yeah, so I wonder if that Glamdring, if that's something that I'm missing. But I guess if you have a lot of instants, you could like get +10 and really threaten. We have a halfling fighting. Nice. And another land. Heaven, Ride of Gondor. I had that one. Stalwarts of Osgiliath. 4 and a white. When they enter, the ring tempts you, and whenever you draw your second card each turn, gets +1 counter on it, but it's 5 mana, so too expensive. Inherited Envelope, 3. Okay, nice. Artifacts. When it enters, the ring tempts you, and a bit of mana fixing. Yeah, so in a ring tempts you deck, could be good enough. Stew the Conies, 2 and a green. Too expensive. Shire Sheriff. We had that one before as well. Yeah, temporary removal, not good enough. Butterbur Innkeeper, 2 green and white. At the beginning of your end step, if you don't control a food, create a food for 4 mana. That's too much. Rosie of South Lane, yeah, had another version of that playable. Peregrine Took, 2 and a green. If 1 or more tokens would be created, under your control those tokens plus an additional food token. Definitely playable. Nice uncommon there. Mirkwood Bats, 3 and a black. Oh, again, nice art. Flying, whenever you create or sacrifice a token, each opponent loses 1 life. Yeah, still a bit on the expensive side, but yeah, certainly fun. Pippin, Guard of the Citadel, white and a blue. Vigilance, ward 1. You could tap it. Another target creature you control gains protection from the card type of your choice until end of turn. It can't be blocked, targeted, dealt damage, enchanted, or equipped by anything of that type. So that's certainly playable. You can, when this is in play, basically something else is unkillable, almost. It is, yeah, unless that at least 2 things are done to it. So yeah, very nice, very interesting rare to build around. Shillup's Ambush, we had that one, not good enough. And then Sharky's Tithe minigame. Okay. Oh, it's nice when you open packs. This way you really get to draw out the fun in a nice way, I think. Oh, is that the Dark Lord himself? Let's see the back. Yes, it was the Dark Lord himself, Sauron. Another full art land. Sam's Desperate Rescue. 1 to return something to your hand. Yeah, very cheap, so could be playable. This one was too expensive. Breaking of the Fellowship, so sad. 1 and a red. Target region. Too expensive. Rising of the Day. We had that one. I don't think that's playable. Shadowfax again. Goes into the playable pile. Oath of the Grey Oath. You and target opponent. Then, yeah, too expensive. Mirkwood Bats again. Seems like there's definitely some batching, or there may just be not be very many of the art cards in the set boosters. Getting a lot of duplicates there. That's a bit of a pity. Assault on Osgiliath X and 3 red. So you get to amass Orcs X, and then Goblins and Orcs you control gain double strike and haste until end of turn. So the army you create actually does something. It's not a combat trick since it's a sorcery. In the right deck, could be interesting. Oh, and we get a very beautiful full art rare here. Fangorn Tree Shepherd. 4 and 3 green, so expensive. Tree Folk, 4 and a 10, big dude. Tree Folk you control have vigilance. Whenever 1 or more Tree Folk control attack, add twice that much green. You don't lose unspent green mana as steps and phases end. Okay, I don't know if there's a way to get a lot of cheap Tree Folk into play, but very beautiful and potentially also playable. And then, oh, this is a special pack. Then we get a Rivendell legendary land. Rivendell enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a legendary creature. And then you can pay 1 and a blue and tap this, so 3 mana to scry 2. If you control a legendary again, might not always be good, but in a scrying matters deck, or if you don't have anything else to do with your mana, doesn't hurt. Then we have the Eastmark Cavalier, Human Knight. And when it deals damage to a goblin or orc, destroy that creature. That's probably too specific to be worth it to play in Commander. But nice flavor. I must say that I think they've hit the flavor spot on with these. So many nice references to a lot of nice things. And here we have the Nazgul in the air, I believe. Nice art card. Another full art land. East Farthing Farmer. When it enters the battlefield, create a food token. When you do, target creature control gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each food you control. So potentially this could give 8/8 to something if you have enough food. Might be barely playable. I'm going to say there are some decks that can really create a lot of food tokens. Smart Cavalier again, Westfold Rider, destroy target artifact or enchantment, but only as a sorcery. So let's call it a flexible human. It is cheap. I'm going to say it's almost playable. Squire of the King. A 1, so very cheap. 4 and a white and tap it. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until the end of turn. And it costs 2 less to activate if you control a legendary creature. Is this one good enough? If you have a lot of things out on the battlefield, but then again it's only until the end of turn. I think it's too situational to be strong enough. Knights of Dol Amroth, 3 and a blue. Whenever you draw a second card each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Knights of Dol Amroth. But again, you can only get this out on turn 4. And so by turn 7 or 8, it may be like a 7/7 with no other effects. Not good enough. Faramir Field Commander, 3 and a white. Beginning of your end step, if a creature died under your control this turn, draw a card. Always nice. Whenever the ring tempts you, you can. I think this is playable. Dunedain Rangers, 3 and a green. Landfall. Whenever land enters the battlefield under control, if you don't control a ring bearer, the ring tempts you. Not good enough. Shortcut to mushrooms. 1 and a green. Enchantment. Enters the battlefield, the ring tempts you. At the beginning of your end step, if a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. If you're really playing the ring tempts you deck, maybe. Other than that, I don't think it's strong enough. Golem Patient Plotter, 1 and a black, very fitting name and beautiful art. When Golem Patient Plotter leaves the battlefield, the ring tempts you. You can sacrifice a creature and return Golem from your graveyard to your hand. Activate only as a sorcery. Might be barely playable, I'm not sure. Saruman's Ransom. 1 a blue and a black. On instant, choose an opponent. They look at the top 4 cards of your library and separate them into a face down pile and a face up pile. Put 1 pile into a hand and the other into a graveyard. The ring tempts you. And this is cards, obviously your own cards. So I guess this is at worst pay 3 and draw 2, and at best pay 3 and draw 3. But then it may not be the cards that at least that your opponent thinks you really need. But yeah, playable in the right deck. Oh, then we got another Treefolk. Oh, they're all very expensive. This is a beautiful foil. Quick Beam Upstart End, 4 and 2 black. Whenever it or another Treefolk enters the battlefield under control up to 2 target creature. Okay, we've had that one. Again, a Treefolk deck. Oh, a Steer Command. This is nice. 4 and 2 white. Choose to destroy all artifacts or destroy all enchantments. Or destroy all creatures with converted mana cost 3 or less, or destroy all creatures with converted mana cost 4 or greater. So, nice flexible board wipe that you can adapt to your board state. Always usable in Commander. Right. Let's see what we get here. Oh, the White Citadel from afar. Beautiful. Land. Claim the Precious. Too expensive. Black Breath. Not good enough. Urukai Berserker. Also too expensive. Mortar Trebuchet. 2 and a black. Artifact creature. It's a wall. Defender. 1 and 4. Whenever you attack with 1 or more goblins and or orcs, create a 2/1 colorless construct construct artifact creature token with flying named Ballistic Boulder that's tapped and attacking. Sacrifice that token at the end of combat. Love the flavor. I don't think it's good enough. Myriadoc Brandybug, 1 and a green. Whenever one or more halflings you control attacks a player, create a food token. So it's only one, no matter how many are attacking, including herself. Food matters deck, probably. Okay. Bilbo, Retired Burglar, 1, a blue and a red. Have you seen other cards with that color combo yet? I don't think so. Halfling Rogue, when he enters or leaves the battlefield, the ring tempts you. And when he deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. So very fitting. Probably not good enough, but I'll put it in the bearable playable pile. Bearblade, 1. Equipped creature gets +1/+1, and whenever equipped creature blocks or becomes blocked by a creature, that creature loses all abilities until end of turn. So this negates Death Touch, I'm assuming. Some end of turn effects, and it's cheap. Could be playable in the right deck, just as a surprise. Frodo, we've already had, and then we get it in the art version right after. Flame of Anora, 1, a blue and a red, instant, choose 1. If you control a wizard, as you cast this spell, you may choose 2 instead. So you can draw 2 cards. You can destroy target artifact, and you can deal damage to target creature. Borderline playable, I think. Again, very situational if you get the value you need from it. This one was too expensive. Which... Okay, we are slowly approaching the end. And as we see more and more cards, we know we will go faster. What's her name again? Galadriel, of course. I actually have a commander deck with her. Should have remembered. Rush the Room. Not good enough. I had that one. Easterling Vanguard. When it dies, amass Orcs 1, 2. Not good enough. Harridim Spearmaster, 2 and a red. It has reach at the beginning of combat on your turn, and all target creature control gets +1/+0 until the end of turn. Also not good enough. Rohirrim Lancer, 1 red, so it's at least cheap. Menace, when it dies, the ring tempts you. Not a lot of value. Gollum, Ancient Plotter, we had that one. Barely playable, I think. Samwise the Stout-Hearted. 1 and a white flash. When he enters the battlefield, choose up to 1 target permanent card in your graveyard that was put there from the battlefield this turn, return to your hand. Yeah, we had that one. Could be a fun trick in the right deck. Tale of Tinuil. Had that one. I don't think it's good enough. Dunland Cribane, 2 and a black flying, and it enters amass Orcs. Beautiful card. Probably not playable. And then we got Mount Doom. Okay, we're really hitting on all of the lands. Legendary land, pay 1 life, add a red or black. Or you can pay 1 a black and a red, and this, so basically 4 mana to deal 1 damage to each opponent. And then you can pay 1 a black and a red and tap it to sacrifice it, and a legendary artifact, and then you can wipe the board, but 2 of 2 creatures stay. So situational board wipe, but it's only as a sorcery, so only on your turn. Yeah, could be fun. Goes in the maybe pile. We already had Goldberry, and then another guest card. X and a white for Gitu Fire. You may play Gitu Fire anytime you could play an instant if you pay 2 more to cast it. Deals X damage to target creature or player. Boom, 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 boom. Probably not playable, but fun inclusion. I must say, when I was younger, I didn't like the art style of the Magic cards. I actually only got into it later when I saw that it had changed, something that I personally feel is a little bit modern. So not super fan of the previous one, but still a nice inclusion. Full Art Land. Fire of Athene, we had that one. Cast into fire. Choose one damage to each of up to 2. Exile target artifact. So the exile target artifact is the thing that might make this playable. Smite the Deathless 1 and on red. Deals 3 damage to target creature. That creature loses indestructible until end of turn. If that creature would die this turn, exile it instead. So your opponent has blocked with something. They figured what was no problem. Then barely playable, very circumstantial. Battle-scarred Goblin, not good enough. Gorbak of Minas Morgul. Whenever a Goblin or Orc you control deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it when you choose one. So potentially some card draw in the right deck. I don't know, unsure. Goes into the barely playable pile. Saruman's Trickery. Counter target spell. And you get, so if you have a deck where you actually also care about creating tokens on your opponent's turn, Galadriel that I mentioned earlier is an example of that. This could be playable, although a bit expensive. Then we have Saruman himself, 4 and a blue. Ward 2, whenever you cast your second spell each turn, amass Orcs 2. Playable if you build around it, and another Duneland Crubane. So you get so many of the same art cards. Ooh, but then also a beautiful Legolas Master Archer 1 and 2 green. Reach, whenever you cast a spell that targets Legolas, Master Archer, put a +1/+1 counter on him. And whenever you cast a spell that targets a creature you don't control, Legolas deals damage equal to its power to up to 1 target creature. So what type of things would you be targeting this with? I'm guessing, so attaching an equipment is obviously not casting a spell. But yeah, could be interesting. Eowyn, Fearless Knight, 2 are white and a red haste. When it enters the battlefield, exile target creature and opponent controls with greater power. Legendary creatures you control gain protection from each of that creature's color until end of turn. So kinda indestructible. Maybe if you have a lot of multicolored creatures. Certainly fun potentially to build around. Not sure if it's actually good. Then we have the Old Man Willow again. That is barely playable in a Tree Folk deck. So let's check over here. I think we have 9 packs left, I think. So still a third. The way to go. Ooh. Ringwraith, Nazgul. Full Art. It's the nuts. Tap target creature, scry 1, draw a card. Maybe. Willow Wind, too expensive. Craig Havens. Of Pilot. Does have Flash. Probably too expensive still. Nimrodel Butcher, 1 and a blue Elf Scout. Whenever you scry, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn and can't be blocked. Not good enough. Gift of Strands. Flash, enchant creature. When it enters battlefield, scry 2, and enchanted creature gets 3/3. Boom, 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 boom. No other abilities. I'm going to say this is not playable. Gandalf, Friend of the Shire, 3 and a blue. Flash. Yeah, we had that one playable. Elrond, Lord of Rivendell, 2 and a blue. Whenever it or another creature enters the battlefield under control, scry 1. If this is the second time this ability has resolved this turn, the ring tempts you. So scrying can also be powerful, basically fixing your draw, but you also need something to draw. Golem, Patient Plotter, we had that one. Voracious Fell Beast, the one that wasn't a dragon. And then we have another Fangon Tree Shepherd in the regular art. We have the Ethylene Kingfisher, 2 and a blue. Flying, when it dies, draw a card. Probably too expensive, even in a Bird's Matter deck. And then a treasure. It would be nice to hit a couple of more mythics at the end of the box. Oh, nice orc goblin with a banner there. Forest. The Torment of Golem, 3 and a black. Too expensive. We had that one. Soothing of Smeagol, 1 and a blue. Instant return target non-token creature to its owner's hand. The ring tempts you. Could potentially be protection of some of your own things, or a semi-blink effect, but too expensive for that. Captain of Umbar in a draw discard deck could be okay. Pelagia Survivor, 1 and a blue. Yeah, that was the one before with a bit of color fixing in blue. Maybe playable. Bill Fernie, Breeze Swindler. Not playable. Bill the Pony. I mean, it's probably not playable, but it's super cute. It has to go in the playable pile. Stew the Conies. Yeah, not good enough. Shire Sheriff. Nasty End. Also had that one. It seems like that's very few. And then we get Tom Bombadil. All colors. Legendary creature, God Bard. As long as there are 4 or more lore counters among sagas you control, Tom Bombadil has hexproof and indestructible. And whenever the final chapter ability of a saga you control resolves, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a saga card. Put that card onto the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. This ability triggers only once each turn. So basically, if you have enough sagas, you can basically replenish them all of the time. And then he stays in play if you already have 4 more lore counters. So basically, yeah, you get to do stuff with your sagas. He's hard to kill. Yeah, potentially very fun to build around, and just ask for a mythic, and we got one, so that's nice. Gimli's Fury, not good enough. Okay, another list card, Death or Glory, 4 and a white. Separate all creature cards in your graveyard into 2 face-up piles. Remove the pile of an opponent's choice from the game and return the other to play. Okay, so if you have 4 or 6, let's say you have 6 things down there, you'll get 3 of them back into play. Not bad at all. Oh, we didn't have that one, but we had the special frame that it was on a card. Very nice. Dunedin Blade, a quick creature gets +1, +2, +1 for 1. I'm going to say that's not playable. Improvised Club, 1 and a red. It's an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice an artifact or creature. So, yeah, if you have to sacrifice, then it's too expensive. Lash of the Balrog, 1. Sorcery as an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature or pay 4. Destroy target creature. If this was an instant, it would be super, I think, given that it's not. It's too situational. Nasty's End, 1 and a black. Yeah, again, yeah, we already had that one. If you have a legendary that you can expend, it's quite nice. Theorith Uncle Patrol, 4 and a black. 1, tap, sacrifice another creature, draw a card, then create a food token. But it's also 4 and a black, no other abilities, so once each turn. Barely playable maybe in an orc focused deck. Ringside. 1, a blue and a black. The ring tempts you. Search your library for a card that shares a color with a legendary creature you control. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. So the ring tempts you, and it has a tutoring effect. In the right deck, definitely playable. Fairy Inscription, 2 and a red. Love the art. Red enters, the ring tempts you. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Fairy Inscription deals 2 damage to each opponent. Very playable in a Spellslinger deck. This can quickly diminish the life of your opponent. Bitter Downfall, instant, and costs 3 less to cast if it targets a creature that was still damaged this turn. Destroy target creature, its controller loses 2 life. So you can remove something for a black if it was dealt damage. Barely playable, let's keep it around. Prince Imrahil the Fair. Very beautiful art, a white and a blue for Human Noble. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a 1/1 white Human Soldier creature token. Playable and beautiful. Oh, I believe we had Eowyn. No, we didn't have this one. 2 and 2 red haste. Whenever one or more other attacking legendary creatures you control die, untap all creatures you control. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. This ability triggers only once each turn. So basically, if you attack and any one of your legendaries are actually killed, you get another combat phase. So potentially a big swing in the right situation. Very interesting. Shire Terrace, we had that one. Probably not good enough. And then Ballistic Boulder. Okay, we love that. Some flying orcs. Woo! Cool. Another one with the, let's call it a signature. Very, very evil dude. Is that what's the name of him? The Mouth of Sauron. Okay. Not familiar, but very beautiful. Land. Bombadil Song. I had that one. Slipper on the Wing. Exile target creature you own, then return it to the battlefield under your control. The ring tempts you. So a blink effect, potentially some protection. Yeah, good enough. Interesting. Birthday Escape, 1 blue, draw a card, the ring tempts you. So drawing a card for 1 in a Spellslinger deck could be fine, even though it's sorcery. Arwen's Gift, yes, but it's okay. So it costs 1 less if you control 2 or more legendaries. So then you're paying 3 to scry 2 and draw 2. Probably too slow, I would say. Old Man Willow, I've had a couple of times already. Rise of the Witch King. Yeah, again, could be playable. Voracious Fell Beast. So that's a third of Gimli in that frame we got. That's a little bit too much, I would say. But then we also get Sauron the Necromancer in this nice frame. So maybe that makes up for it. 3 and 2 black legendary creature, Avatar Horror, Menace. Whenever he attacks, exile target creature card from your graveyard. Create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of that card, except it's a 3/3 black wraith with Menace. At the beginning of the next end step, exile that token unless Sauron is your ring bearer. Potentially super fun to build around, and in any deck you can bring something back each turn with this one attacks. Yeah, quite fun. Love the theme of it. Aragon Company Leader, 1 green and a white, and when the ring tempts you if you choose a creature other than Aragon, put your choice of counters from among First Strike, Vigilance, Death and Lifelink on Aragon. And whenever you put 1 or more counters on Aragon, put 1 of each of those kinds of counters on on up to one other target creature. Okay, so that's super fun. So you have this in play, and the ring tempts you. You target various stuff, and then all of your things suddenly get first strike or death touch or lifelink. Yeah, quite fun, I would say. Interesting rare. East Farthing Farmer, we had that one, and a tentacle token. I'm not sure if there are anything with octopus in here. Okay, so we're down to maybe the last 4 packs. And the box topper. Let's see, could be nice with a really fun hit in the last packs. So, unfamiliar with that character. Oh, foil, Full Art Land. Rose Pathfinder we had. Protector of Gondor we had. And when this enters the battlefield, draw a card. Not good enough. Star Wars of Siglet. No, also had that one. Also not good enough. Rosie is still playable. Peregrine Took is still definitely playable. Brandybuck is barely playable. Elrond, Lord of Rivendell. Beautiful art, probably not playing. King of the Oathbreakers. Okay. Crazy art, that one. 2 are white and a black. Legendary creature, Spirit Noble Flying. When he or another spirit you control becomes target of a spell, it phases out. Okay, so you can't kill it with like a destroy target creature because it would just phase out. Interesting. And whenever it phases in, that or another spirit, create a tap 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. Very flavorful if you can build some kind of spirit deck around it or spirit tokens. Very interesting. Irith of the Healing House. Yeah, always good to be able to tap and untap stuff. Oh, I actually counted wrong before. Now we have 4 packs left, plus the box topper. Let's see. I do love that there are art cards in all of these. So many nice memories. Okay, Shillup's Ambush. Probably good enough, we already had that. Hobbit Sting, 1 and a white. Deals X damage to target creature with X is the number of creatures you control, plus the number of food you control. Playable in the right deck. Pippin's Bravery. No, actually I'm going to go back on the Hobbit Sting. Not good enough. Pippin's Bravery. 1 green. You may sacrifice food. If you do, target creature gets +4/+4 until end of turn. Otherwise, the creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Nah, not strong enough. Many partings. Playable. Ranger's Firebrand deals 2 damage to any target. That's not enough in Commander. Golem's Bite. Give something -2/-2 until end of turn. And you can exile it to make the ring tempt you. I'm going to say that that's not good enough. We have Gandalf's Sanction. Not good enough. Frodo Baggins, again, love the art, maybe not so playable. And then another one of the Mirkwood Bats. Too many duplicates in that spot, I must say. The Balrog Durin's Bane, or he looks angry. 5 of black and red, very expensive. Cost 1 less to cast for each permanent sacrifice this turn. Has haste. Can't be blocked except by legendary creatures. Commander, that's bound to be legendary creatures. When it dies, destroy target artifact or creature and opponent controls. If you can cheat it into play for the 2 mana, it's definitely good, and it does come in with haste. Probably playable in the right deck. Deceive the Messenger. Had that one. Not good enough. So there are some cards here with a lot of text where I think you really need to think careful about whether it's actually good enough or not, given its price. I don't know who she is. Halfling, do we know? Took Reaper. Land. Troll of Khazad-dûm. Not good enough. Lorien Reveal. Draw 3 cards for 3 and 2 blue. And Island Cycling. The Island Cycling does help. Could be good enough. Wizard Rockets. Nice. 1 Wizard Rockets enters the battlefield tapped. X and tap it to sacrifice it and add X mana in any combination of colors. So, like 1-time major mana fixing, I guess, plus it's an artifact. And when you do sacrifice it, you draw a card. I think this is actually potentially okay. The right deck. Ends Fury, 1 and a green. Put a +1 counter on target creature you control. If its power is 4 or greater, then that creature gets +1/+1 into turn and find target's creature you don't control. Sorcery speed, not good enough. Council's Deliberation, 1 and a blue. Draw a card. Whenever you scry, if you control an island, you may exile Council's Deliberation from your graveyard. If you do, draw a card. So potentially you get to draw 2 cards in the right scry deck. Might just be Stone of Eric. 1 legendary artifact. If a creature an opponent controls die, exile it instead. So some graveyard hate, and you can pay 2 and tap it to exile target player's graveyard. So basically, if it comes into play later and you want something gone, you can still. I think this is okay. Graveyard hate, if you're into that kind of thing. The Bath Song. Draw 2 cards, then discard a card. Shuffle any number of cards from your graveyard into your library. Add 2. Is this good enough? It might barely be good enough. I have a hard time evaluating that one. Grey Havens is certainly good enough. Nasty End. Raya Marauder. 2 reds for Goblin Warrior with double strike. Whenever a Goblin or Orc you control deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. So you need combat damage. But then for each one, you get to see some cards. I'm not a fan of these effects, but it can be playable. Then another Oathbreaker. And then another list card, Orc Sure Shot. 1 and a tap for Orc Archer. 1 and a black, sorry. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, target creature and opponent control gets -1/-1 until end of turn. So if you have create a lot of tokens, you can actually kill stuff as well. I like it. The listing inclusions are always some nice surprises. Nice unexpected surprises. Okay. Here we have Legolas, I believe, a card frame. Inherited Envelope. Some mana fixing and some tempting, maybe playable. Bombadil Song we had. Slip on the Ring. Some blinking. Birthday Escape. Again, draw for 1. Could be okay. Bilbo Retired Burglar. It's not good enough. Barrow Blade. Maybe Frodo. Again, is that 8th Frodo we've gotten so far? Quite a lot of them. Gollum Patient Plotter. Not good enough. Foray of Orcs. So that was a new art card, I believe. 3 and a red. For sorcery, amass Orcs 2. When you do, Foray of Orcs deals X damage to target creature and opponent controls where X is the amassed army's power, so not playable. Beautiful. Stint the Glinting Dagger. 2 legendary artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has haste. At the beginning of each combat, untap equipped creature. So kind of like, almost like Vigilance. Or you could put it on something that has an ability where you tap it, then you would be able to like tap it 5 times in a turn if you can tap it at instant speed. Nice. Equipped creature has first strike as long as it's blocking or blocked by a goblin or orc. That's not important. I do think that the tapping thing, put on the right thing and used a lot of times, could be interesting. So, last pack of the set boosters. Let's see if there's a final nice hit in here. Beautiful landscape. Hopping Town, maybe. Another full art land. Haunt of the Dead Marshes. We had was not good enough. Chance met elves. 2 and a green. Then we scry. Put a +1/+1 counter on Chance met elves. Not good enough. Elven Farside, scry 3. Then you may reveal the top card of your library if it's a creature card. Draw a card. So basically, look at 3, and if one of them is a creature, you get to draw it. So draw 1. Sorcery, maybe barely playable. Lothlorien Lookout. Not good enough. Horses of the Bruinen. Return up to 2 target creatures to the owner's hands at sorcery speed. Scry 1, not good enough. Int Draught Basin. Artifact for 2. X and tap it. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature with power X. Activate only as sorcery, so you can't do it at instant speed. It can become expensive. I don't like it. Long list of the ends. Note a creature type that hasn't been noted for a long list of the ends. When you cast your next creature spell of that type this turn, that creature enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. So basically you pay 1, and then whatever you want to cast else gets a +1/+1 counter, and it does that for 6 turns, and you could have counters. I think it's playable in the right deck. It's kind of fun. Nasty End. Another one. Oh, Sting the Glinting Dagger. So we just had it in the regular. Now we have it in the full art. Beautiful, and it's an interesting card. I do like it. And we end with a double rare pack there and back again. 3 and 3 red. Up to 1 target creature can't block for as long as you control there and back again. The ring tempts you. Search your library for mountain card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Oh, and here we have the Great Smaug, a legendary 6/6 red dragon creature token with flying haste, and when this creature dies, create 14 treasure tokens. Oh, it's quite expensive. It's late in the game, but it's also fun. Could be super fun to build around. Unit and Rangers doesn't do anything. Then another list card, Crush the Weak, 2 and a red. Crush the Weak deals 2 damage to each creature. If a creature dealt damage this way would die this turn, exile it instead. Foretell for red. So during your turn you may pay 2 and exile this card from your hand face down. Cast it on a later turn for its foretell cost. So even though this has sorcery, you can actually foretell it, then you can pay 2 at a later turn to do it at instant speed, I'm assuming. It doesn't say otherwise. No, maybe it's still sorcery speed. Interesting mechanic. Okay, so box is sadly empty, but we do still have this box topper left. Let's see if I can get it off of the cardboard without ruining it completely. These can have some major hits, so let's see, can we actually open them? Yeah, we can open them without using scissors. That's nice. Let's see. Valley of Gorgoroth. So what does that do? It's a mythic. You can tap it to add a colorless. It's full art. It's foil. It's beautiful. And you can tap it to destroy target non-basic land. So it's a wasteland. I mean, that's a super good hit to end on. It's always nice to have just a little bit of land hate in your commander deck in case somebody has one that's really important to them. So a perfect way to end. I think we are getting somewhere in terms of having enough cards to build around. But let's see. I'm unsure if we will open more or if we will actually begin a build to build decks. But I guess we will find out. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the opening. And see you next time.